Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so glad that all of you are joining me today for our May clinical call with FMPhA. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Veronica Riera-Gilly. I'm the executive director here. Lauren is not with us today. She is en route to San Diego to speak at IFM, and I have a slide on that in our little deck in just a moment. And I'll give us about another minute to filter in, since I'm admitting everyone without a wingman today. But it's really great to see all of you here, and I can't wait to have some lively discussion on the book this month. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. And once again, thank you all for joining me for our community call, May 2026, for the Functional Medicine Pharmacist Alliance. And let me see if I can get my slides to advance. We always like to open our calls with a little bit of deep breathing together, since functional medicine is about taking care of the whole body, including our nervous system. So we'll take just a moment to center ourselves. So if you would please join me in sitting up nice and tall. Let your hands relax comfortably in your lap, and let your feet rest flat on the floor. Taking just a moment to notice your body. And then draw a big breath in through the nose, and let a big sigh out. Big breath in through the nose, and let a big sigh out. We'll take one more big breath in, and let a big sigh out. And then take just one moment. Let your breath come back to a natural and effortless rhythm. And again, notice is and how you feel. And when you're ready, open your eyes, bring your awareness back into the room. Thank you all for joining me in that little exercise to help ground us and focus on our nervous systems. And thank you for your patience as I juggle both screens. We'll start with some quick announcements. We have our next cohort of boot camp coming up in June. Open enrollment will start on June the 1st, and the summer cohort will then kick off on June the 21st. We're really excited for all the clinical content that we added this time. Jessica Mills, who is one of our regional leaders, she did a fantastic job of delivering hours and hours of clinical content. That was just a wonderful foundation for people that are just getting started, and a great review for those of us who have been doing this for a while. It was really great information. So if you've been on the fence about doing it, now's a great time to do it, because we include so many hours of clinical content. And we're working out on how to offer a certificate for completion of this. So stay tuned for more information on that, and also check out the link that Lauren has included here if you want more information on our boot camp, which covers business and now clinical content as well. Give me just one moment while I admit some more of our friends here. And our upcoming events that we have, I will be hosting our clinical call next Tuesday, June the 2nd at 7 p.m. Central Time. I will be discussing acupuncture protocols for pharmacists. And This may not be in everyone's scope of practice, but this is starting to be something that several of us in several states can offer. So I'm hoping to give you guys some good information on how to do it if it's available in your state, and how to advocate for it if it's something that you hope to be available in your state. And we have our quarterly standard process webinar coming up on Tuesday, August 11th. John Morrow will be our speaker again. He was the fabulous speaker on the first webinar that we had with standard process, and he's going to discuss drug-induced nutrient depletion and replenishment protocols focused around whole food supplements. So that's going to be a really exciting webinar. And this weekend is the IFM Annual International Conference. It's in San Diego. Lauren is not with us today because she is on a plane on her way there, and she will be one of the guest speakers along with Melody Hartzler and Lara Zachariah. They're all presenting on a panel. And if you're going to be there, please be sure and touch base with Lauren, because she will be hosting a pharmacist roundtable on Friday, and we would love for all of you to be there. I'd love to know in the comments where you guys are from, where are you dialing in from, and where's your main practice site. Let's start networking in our chat section. And also, if you will be attending IFM, please be sure that you let us know in the comments so that we can all connect you to Lauren. You guys can connect with each other. It's going to be a really great thing that pharmacists will be so well represented at this particular conference. I'm really excited. And I have big FOMO because I won't be there. And ASCP, one of our partners, the American Society of Consultant Pharmacists, they're going to have their Midwest regional meeting in Ohio, and Lauren will be presenting on functional medicine there. So if you're in the area, that'll be a great opportunity. And they did offer us some discount codes. So if you're not a member of ASCP, you're thinking about it, you want to go check it out, please let us know, and we can share that with you. And just a reminder, this is our list of all of the books that we have chosen for the year. So if you haven't been keeping up with the books, or you've forgotten where to find the list, here is this lovely graphic with all of the books that we will be reading. So if you've missed some and you want to go back and look at them, here they are. And then you've also got the rest of the list for the rest of the year. The book that we are discussing this month is The Hormone Secret by Dr. Tami Meraglia. She was not available to join us on the call, but if you guys had questions about her book, she did offer to answer them for us by email. So please send us those or drop them in the chat today, and we will forward those to her and share them with you at a later date in an email. And next month, we are discussing Listen to Your Body and Regain Your Health by Dr. Larissa Sharapova. And I believe she joined us on the call today. So if you see her in the comments, please say hello. And I'm sure during the discussion, she might unmute. But she will be joining us again next month to discuss her book in person. So I'm really excited about that. And those are all the announcements that I have. I'm going to stop sharing so I can see all of your beautiful faces if you are on camera. And I'm going to make sure I continue to admit our friends in the chat. So thank you all for joining us. Oh, and I see Dr. Sharapova. I see her beautiful picture there. So thank you for joining us. We're excited to be reading your book next month. And let me know how many of you had the opportunity to read The Hormone Secret this month. And if not, it's okay. I know we're all really busy professionals. I listened to the majority of it on audiobook. Let me see if I can find the chat here. It's not visible for me. There we go. Dennis is in Canada. He is our international leader. So I'm really glad you're on the call today. Thank you for chiming in the chat. And you will not be at IFM. I know Lauren is going to be bummed not to see you, but I'm sure we'll see you at Mindshare in San Diego later in the year. Good. Good. I'm glad. I see a couple other people. M. Segara, listen to the book. Yes, audiobook's the way to go. So tell me your thoughts on the book. Anybody who had a chance to read it, just a quick summary of the book. It's about testosterone and how it's a really important hormone for women that we have overlooked. And it's a lot of nutrition and dietary strategies and lifestyle pieces to help optimize testosterone for women. I thought the book was really applicable to men as well. A lot of the same things that are going to help boost our or optimize our hormones are also going to do the same for men. Maricel, thank you. Thank you for chiming in with your first name. I'm glad you're here with us. And Dr. Sharapova says, thank you for inviting me. I'm looking forward to talk with you all next month. Yes, we're excited to have you and to read your book as well about listening to your body. It's one of my favorite topics, is asking our patients to listen to their bodies. We're so disconnected from our bodies, and we're so quick to ask, what's the pill for this symptom, rather than asking our bodies, what does the symptom mean? And I think that was a theme that showed up in this book as well, is all these patients are really miserable. They're coming in, they're looking for a solution, and they're being told to eat differently, move their bodies more. And that's not always the popular thing you want to hear, but it's the thing that really moves the needle on our health. So Maricel, do you have anything you'd like to chime in about the book?
I thought it was very good. The ideas go very well with functional medicine principles.
Did you have any favorite recommendations that you heard in the book?
It's hard to pick because there were so many. I made quite a few notes. I'll have to go find them.
I think I've got everybody admitted. I've got this button over here. I'm trying to let everybody in. I'm so glad that all of you are here joining us today. Deborah, I see that you got in. I got a text from Lauren. It's like, help, let me in.
Yeah,
I'm so glad you're here.
I've been waiting for a few minutes, and I'm like, is it happening? Did I get it wrong?
No, it's not letting me admit everyone in batches. I have to go individually, and sometimes you're getting hid under a menu. So thank you all for being patient with me as I struggle with the technology. But this is good practice because, you know, Lauren is on her way doing something, and we can't always have a wingman, so it's good practice for me. Deborah, did you have any favorite takeaways from the book that you wanted to share?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even know what book that we're even on. I just, when I got the email, I'm like, oh, I actually can come, so let me show up. So I don't even know what book it is.
It is The Hormone Secret from Dr. Tami Meraglia. And we were connected to... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I haven't read that one.
That's okay. We were connected to Dr. Meraglia through Mindshare and their Facebook group. Mindshare is it's the conference and business support, entrepreneur support through JJ Virgin, and we attended her big event, Mindshare, last year, and they have a Facebook group. So we posted in there. We said, hey, we know there's a lot of authors and speakers in here, and that's also how we got connected to Dr. Sharapova. We just said, hey, if you have a book, we would love to introduce it to our community and read it. So it's been really exciting to read the content from other providers and see their perspectives, hear their knowledge, and great.
Hi, this is Melanie. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes. Hi, Melanie.
Hi. So I did actually read the book. Most of it, there's recipes on the end. I didn't get to all of them, but I did find it interesting. However, it wasn't my favorite. I would say that my perimenopausal journey myself has got me more interested in the hormones and stuff. And I think some other authors have done maybe a better job with more modern input as far as that goes. But all in all, I thought it was a good book.
Thank you for sharing. Yes, perimenopause is the hot topic right now. And I think it's wonderful that we've got so many people interested in helping women, but there's a lot of bad information out there too. So I think it's great that all of us are taking an interest in it, and we're going to be reading all of these different resources and helping put together, what we think is like the best true north for our patients. So I thought it was interesting that she put together like a 30-day plan for her patients. And I wondered if that inspired anyone. Like, is that something that you could create? And what would your 30-day plan to help optimize someone's hormones look like? Does it encompass a lot of the same things that Dr. Meraglia put in, or do you have something extra that you would add? Melanie, since you said that you thought there were some other information out there, what would you like to see included maybe in your 30-day plan?
So I haven't like read a lot of stuff. I think it was Sarah Gottfield and Melinda Peltz, I think is their names. I really liked their articles and their books, and their intake on the nutrition seemed more simplified. But it's always good to get different ideas, and one avenue is not going to help everybody, so we're all different.
Yes. I thought it was interesting that she talks about a liver cleanse in this, and I think that is something that's overlooked. I find, or I explain it to my patients that, yes, your liver does a great job of detoxifying what we give it, but we give it a lot more than what we have in previous generations with all of the different things that we're slathering on our skin. And then, of course, our liver has to process every single pharmaceutical that we put through it, in addition to all of our environmental toxins, things that might be in our water. And so it's doing a big job. And so why wouldn't we need to support it in some way and give it some extra building blocks so that it can do its job better, since we're asking so much of it? And our body has to prioritize, if we're giving it 12 things that are processed in the liver, it has to prioritize which one is the worst thing, and then everything else gets put in the queue for later, and things get backed up and bottlenecked. So I like that she included it, and I'd be curious to know how you guys approach liver cleanses with your patients. If you've done it in the past, or if you're just now thinking about it, what is that aspect of the book? Tell me what it brought up for you.
I think, and again, I haven't read the book, so I'm not sure can you elaborate what she had as the liver cleanse? What was she using, or what was she suggesting?
She was suggesting avoiding certain food groups, maximizing other food groups, prioritizing protein, and then some herbal ingredients.
Yeah, so that doesn't sound too crazy to me, because I think what I see a lot is people wanting to jump straight to a heavy duty, something, and their body just isn't ready to support that. So that sounds on target. If we're using food to kind of prioritize that cleanse, then I think that sounds like it's on the right track.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot that you can do just by changing your diet, maybe not even adding supplements yet. Like that, sometimes that is the cleanse, is like, can we can we get you off processed packaged foods and excess sugar? And that can make someone feel so much better. That's a great start without even adding in supplements or shakes or anything else. I've seen lots of different, or I've actually done like purchase the kits just to see like what are patients getting, and some of them are really complicated. Like on these days you can have these foods but not these foods, but then and like what you can eat keeps changing each day, and it's very very confusing. I think things that simplify for our patients are really helpful, like making it really straightforward. Have I admitted everyone? I think so. Welcome for those of you who just joined us. We're really glad you're here. We're discussing the book, The Hormone Secret from Dr. Tami Meraglia. So if you're just joining us, please put in the chat where you're joining us from. If you've had the opportunity to read the book and anything else that we should know about you. I'm joining you from Texas today. I'm curious, is anybody on the call getting to go to IFM? I think Nicole, one of our other state leaders, is going to go this year. So have any of you used any of the detox kits from any of the companies? You know, Metagenics has one, Nutridyne, Orthomolecular, Designs for Health. I'm sure there's more than I've named. But I'm curious if any of you have used those with your patients, if you have a favorite one. Yay, another fellow Texan. I wonder if we're close in geographic relation in Giant, Texas. I'm in Sherman, which is an hour north of Dallas. Oh, Deborah, you're raising your hand. Go for it. Oh, I can't hear you. Have I somehow muted you?
No, I put my hand down instead of hitting the mute button.
Okay.
I haven't used any of the kits specifically that you mentioned, but in my mold mycotoxin journey, I've used several different protocols. But I have found that I like the cell core products the best, using all the paras, all their drainage support, and all of their binders. I felt the best and felt like I saw faster moving results than I had done with the two prior traditional protocols approach that used like cholestyramine and itraconazole and some those types of things. So that's just my experience.
Hi, this is Melanie again. I just wanted to say this is probably going to date me, but years back, I was at Beachbody. I sold Beachbody products. And so we did the 21-day reset. So I had a group of people that I did that with. And then more recently, the, I think it's called Wall Protocol or Walls Protocol, just to see if any, like, if my food was contributing to IBS symptoms.
Dennis, did you have your hand raised? I have my screen funny, so I didn't see all of you. You good? Okay. If you got any wisdom to chime in, we'd love to hear it.
I'll comment some. I'm being in Canada, so it's a little bit different because I can use a lot of the product unless it's registered through the Health Canada. Being, licensed practitioner here with the college here. So I don't use the protocol, but I use specific like miltus or artichoke type of thing. And definitely, I think Deborah's mentioned that using the food, as a gut reset or gut cleanse. That's why, like almost every patient that I work with, that's where I start with. And one of the product I use for the liver support combination is also has a calcium decalciferate. We're talking about hormones, and we have this recirculation and reabsorption of the hormones in the gut when enzyme cleave the glucuronization. So there's a product that included in my liver support that I use as calcium decalciferate, which is block the enzyme that cleaving the glucuronization from the hormones. So that's also help with the hormone detox.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's great for us to think about the bacteria and what they're doing for our hormones. And yeah, that should bring us all back to pharmacy school, why taking antibiotics has the potential to interact with contraception, because we're messing up with our estrogen recycling. So that was a great throwback for biochemistry and medicinal chemistry for us. Deborah, you mentioned cholestyramine, and I was having to take that for a mold toxicity protocol, and the constipation is brutal. I absolutely could not tolerate it. Even one dose a day was like,
Well,
I don't know how patients take it 4 times a day, even when you're religious with fiber and water. Oh,
yeah, constipation wasn't an issue for me. Mine was more, I think it's the third 6 months that I was in to do it. I was like, if I have to drink this one more time, like I just couldn't continue to stomach it. So then I was like, okay, I've got to do something else. Like I saw results because I tested after each 6 months detoxification window. And so I saw movement, so I was getting results, but I was just like, if I'm struggling and I know the importance, then I know that a patient is really going to struggle. Like, I just didn't think I could just stomach it anymore without vomiting. So I had to find a different option.
yeah, I feel you. I just decided not to finish the cholestyramine protocol and just go with charcoal, reading the data on binding the specific mycotoxin I was dealing with. I'm like, okay, there's still good data for charcoal. That's what we're doing because it doesn't cause gridlock.
Yeah.
And you don't have to taste it.
So the fourth detoxification, I switched to Cellcore, and I actually felt a tremendous amount of energy. It didn't drain me like the other ones drained me. And again, still saw results after each 6 months course. So yeah, I pretty much try to use Cellcore in my patients now just for the energy factor and just the results that I saw. I did see more movement, I do think. And right, like it's hard to find a practitioner that will agree to write the cholestyramine prescription and the itraconazole prescription. I don't know. Maybe other places don't have as much trouble as I have, but in South Carolina, the functional medicine practitioners are few and far between. So, right, like to try and find other practitioners who would have prescribing authority is just difficult. Basically, I had to beg, borrow, and steal to, get it for myself. So I can only imagine a patient trying to ask for something just in the environment that I'm here in.
I wish every physician, every prescriber could be paired with a pharmacist. I think in a perfect world, that would be a really ideal pairing for us to monitor drug therapy. And, there's some talk with CPESN about CCM at the level of the pharmacy, but I think if we had it like in office before prescriptions are even written, how many things could we head off before they even made it to the pharmacy if the pharmacist was in-house? So we'll see. We can keep advocating for that. I do have a question since we have Dr. Sharapova on the line. Do you have a pharmacist that you collaborate with or work with or on your team, or maybe just someone in the community that you know you can call on? I'm curious what your relationship with pharmacists is.
I'm at work, so I can chime in for a few minutes. Thank you for having me. And it's an interesting topic. I think next month we're going to continue talking more about what you're talking today, because I specialize in hormones as well. And I work mostly with compounding pharmacies and local like wellness stores where they sell all brand supplements. And I have my own supplement store online because I see mostly patients online, like telemedicine.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a great work that you do, and getting more in functional medicine and now offering functional medicine services. It's very good.
Thank you. We're excited to help patients start feeling better. I think there's a lot that we can do, even though we don't have diagnostic privileges. That there's a lot we can do to help patients start with all of the lifestyle pieces that they need to create a foundation. And then we can refer them on to physicians when they need a deeper dive or maybe need a prescription or other interventions that are not in our wheelhouse.
Yeah, great. Continue doing good work.
Thank you. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Sure, thank you. We'll see you next month.
See you soon. I had written some questions down about the book. Let me see. I think one thing I really enjoyed about the book was that she addresses the interconnection of thyroid health, hormone health, adrenal health, insulin or metabolic health, and insulin resistance, how it's all interconnected. I thought that was really good for our patients to hear. And I think the more places they hear that, if we're all sharing that message, that it's really good for our patients. So I thought that was something that was done well in the book, is kind of addressing how interconnected all of these systems are, and that it's not just one thing that might be driving whatever dysfunction we're seeing. I'm curious, since we're on the topic of hormones, how many of you are using hormone testing with your patients, and are you using blood, saliva, or urine testing? Yes, Deborah.
So, I don't find that I need to use testing right out the gate. I feel like, and I explain that to patients, if they want testing and they just want it for information, then I'm all for it. But I kind of would rather them spend their money on buying good quality food and making different choices in that space, because I know I shouldn't be surprised, but I'll have patients that have symptom reduction of like 70 to 80% just by changing what they're ingesting in just a few supplements. And, you know, I explain all the time that the other work that we'll do will still give us results, but it's only going to move the needle 1 or 2%, you know, with each thing that we do. And, you know, I just had a patient this morning whose symptom score last month was 21 and her symptom score this time was 10. And I asked her, I said, what do you think moved the needle the most for that? I mean, you reduced her symptoms in half. And she said, she was like, it was what I was eating, you know? So like, and when I do use testing, I usually use like the Dutch or the HUMAP for hormones, but you know, I just find that so many things get in line and they don't need, you know, an expensive test. But some people just like to have the knowledge, and I'm a geek, so I'm all about, you know, getting, you know, testing, but I really want them to see the importance of that first.
I love that. I think that's a great recommendation. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. It's like, what can we do first before we jump out with expensive testing? Yes, chime in, Dennis. We'd love to hear from you.
I agree with Deborah. I don't recommend testing right out the gate. Usually the people that I work with, they have to work with me for lifestyle, food, and targeted supplement for about 3 months before I will do the testing for them. And 75-80% of the cases after 3 months, their symptoms are like, you know, down more than 50%. And then they don't need to do testing, or they don't even want hormones anymore because their symptoms are improved so much. But if I do testing, I'm old school. I started doing functional medicine since 2004, so I like saliva test and blood spot. I can't to this day wrap my head around Dutch. When Mark Newman started the Dutch, he actually was launching it in Canada, and I was speaking for FOM. FOM came up to Canada to do their conference, and that was 2014. FOM came up, and I was speaking for FOM at Vancouver FOM conference, and Mark Newman got a booth, and he was launching his Dutch test then, and he gave me a sample to run it for myself. I never did it, but after later on, I looked at all the Dutch tests, and it's so complicated. And from my point of view, Dutch test is, if you want to look at estrogen balance, or, you know, whatever metabolite, how is it your body metabolizing, then Dutch test, great. Urine test, you see all the metabolite. But to, you know, treat or monitor, I still prefer the saliva or blood spot. Like I use the CRT, and their blood spot test is great. But now I'm like, I use far and few between of testing. I used to carry the test kit in my pharmacy, and because I don't use it much anymore, I don't have any test kit in my pharmacy anymore. If patient really want it, then I just order through CRT and they ship it to patient directly. And like this year, I ordered 2 tests in 6 months. And last year, probably less than 5 tests that I ordered.
That's awesome. And I mean, we're hearing the same thing, 2 different pharmacists. You know, how can we help our patients with the lifestyle pieces and some targeted supplements that we know the mechanism of, and if our patients are feeling better? I think that's great. Deborah, what else do you have to add?
I was just going to say, you know, I probably don't feel confident or comfortable with the saliva because I haven't done any training in that. And I have spent time doing the training in the Dutch through, you know, the program that I did and that kind of thing. So I think it's just what people feel comfortable with and where their knowledge base is. So like, I would be really interested, you know, in getting other training in other testing, because I do think other ways could be easier or, you know, resourceful. It's just what you're comfortable with because you were trained, right?
Now, Deborah, I have a question for you since you're more familiar with the Dutch. Are those results still useful when a patient is using bioidentical hormone replacement?
Some of them, yes, and some of them, no. So like progesterone won't really be a thing. And I've got some notes on some other things, but like, you know, just the estrogen metabolism and understanding that, I think can be helpful. But interesting enough, I'm going through a MIRA, MIRA, exercise right now through a group that I'm with, and they actually have a use case specifically for people who are using bioidentical hormones. So, you know, it kind of came on the scene specifically for fertility, but, you know, now it's being used for perimenopause, so you can track what's happening. And then now there's a use case for postmenopausal women who are using HRT, and that's urine as well. It's like taking a pregnancy test every day. So we've had our first educational session on it, and we're actually in the practice part, right, where we're actually doing, you know, doing the testing ourselves as practitioners, and then they're going to come back and give us the use cases, you know, for somebody on bioidentical hormones and how it's working for them.
So do they have different test ones? Because I'm familiar with MIRA for patients that aren't using any hormones, and they told me that the ones that they had will max out. And so I am on bioidentical hormone replacement, and I could see that. I gave myself a two-week washout and did some testing, and then added it back in, and everything was just like, just, you know, completely not measurable. So they have new test ones.
So the ones that they sent us is the Ultra. It tests FSH, LH, PDG, and estradiol 3, EDG. I'd have to go back and look. Oh, wait, I got it on my phone. I can just look at that on the app. And they did say that there is a use case for monitoring. It's E3G is what it's testing. And so, like I said, I'm not using, I'm in perimenopause, so I'm not using any hormones yet, but they said there is a use case. And I think they're going to present that case to us once they get all of our data, because we do have some people in the group that are doing it for their HRT and seeing how it supplement. And when there's another person already in the group that has been doing it for her FSH levels. And so like she can tell, like when she injects she's using injectable estrogen. And then she also said that she can tell when she takes her B vitamins versus when she doesn't take her B vitamins. Like she's been able to really see the estrogen metabolism and what that looks like, because she has a COMT SNP. So anyway, I'm learning about it. I am nowhere a guru yet. I do think it's interesting, but I do think the basically taking a pregnancy test every day might be a hindrance to people. I mean, because basically, right, you got to capture your urine and then you stick it in there for 20 seconds. So, but but they also said that if you use it ongoing, like it starts to learn your system, and then you can maybe move instead of daily, go to like every 3 days. And for cost purposes, like if you buy it in 3-month supplies, I think the cost is like less than $200 a month. So, you know, when you compare it to like a Dutch Complete or something else like that, I mean, like it's can be cheaper. So I don't know. I'm interested in learning more about it for sure.
That's awesome. I thought it was a really great tool for women who are in perimenopause, because how many of those women get a blood test and it says, oh, it's normal, but you might have one day out of the month that's normal when you're in perimenopause. And so to be able to capture that high variability day to day, I think is really useful information for women. For some women, other women, I think it sends them into a spiral. I think you really have to know your patient too. It's like, is this information going to make them hyper focus on their symptoms, or is this information that's going to be very empowering? Because there's a lot of women with terrible health anxiety and like every little symptom, everything that's going on in their body. And I think sometimes more information is overwhelming. Not that we want to withhold information, but I don't think that Mira would be right for every patient, and we would really need to know our patient well, because we don't want to send them into this health anxiety spiral.
Right. Yeah, I totally get that.
Is anybody else using Mira, either for themselves or for their patients, that you want to chime in and share? I wish that the Mira could also test testosterone. I think that would be a fabulous tool. If they added that.
Testosterone and cortisol, and they said that they are working on it, and they didn't give us, you know, a specific time frame or anything. But we asked specifically about cortisol and testosterone, and so it's being looked at. So maybe one day it will happen.
I think that could be a really great tool, like cortisol. Of course, I think patients, when they start to listen to their body, this is going to be such a great conversation to tie over into Dr. Sharapova's book about listening to your body. I don't know that patients are necessarily going to need a number, a measurable number from either a urine test, salivary test, whatever. Because your body gives you so much information if you stop to listen. And even now that I'm far enough along in my functional medicine journey, I can tell when my estrogen is too high. I've struggled with estrogen dominance like my whole adult life. But now I really understand the symptoms. My body gives me very clear signs, and I can bump up the different supplements that I need to help facilitate more of that estrogen detoxification so that I'm not dominant. And so if we can help our patients with that, but I think cortisol is going to give us a lot of similar symptoms when we slow down and listen.
I was just going to chime in that I have done the Dutch a couple of times with myself and a couple of actual other pharmacists. We worked on it together on ourselves, and the information is very complex, but it is like really helpful when you're really stuck somewhere and you're not quite sure where a person's stuck at. And then the other thing is, as pharmacists, we are able to order, I think it's up to 3 kits at cost. So if anybody is interested in like just checking it out and seeing what it's like, and knowing that that's an option for people, and they have free training as well.
Are those tests limited only when you're opening the new account? I don't have a Dutch account, so I'm not sure. I've just heard from other practitioners that you can purchase a limited number of half-price kits when you open your account, but like your half-price kits are no more after that.
Well,
but you're right. It was when, oh, sorry, go ahead.
They run different specials because
Okay.
I got half-price kits when I opened my account, but like last November or December, when they were rolling out like their new testing report, they ran a special and they did half price kits again. So I ordered some more because I'm like,
Me
half
too.
price,
Yeah.
like even if, it's not like they really expire. So
Good to know. Thank y'all for sharing. And tell me your name again. The person with the 414 number. Tell me your name and where you're at.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Melanie Danielson. I'm in Franklin, Wisconsin, walking area. And I'm
Okay.
actually walking right now, so I don't see the chat stuff or anything. So I'm sorry I haven't raised my hand or anything. I don't
That's
know where to
okay.
find it. Okay.
It's all good. We're really glad that you're here with us. So thank you and thanks for doing something good for yourself, going for a walk. I love taking meetings for a walk. I just know I can't monitor the chat and let people in if I'm walking. But I take a lot of other meetings walking. It's so good for you. I'm glad you're setting
And I
a
am
good
out of
example.
breath too. So you guys probably think I'm really out of breath, but I'm hiking.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Good for you. I'm excited that you're outside enjoying nature.
Got to get those 10,000 steps in a day for our challenge.
Nice. Well, I know we're coming up at the end of the hour. So is there anyone else who hasn't had an opportunity to chime in that wants to either talk about the book or raise a hormone question or share your experience? Because your experience is valuable. We all learn something from each other. So please do speak up if you have a little, something. We would love to hear it because it's always valuable when we hear from our peers. I learn something every time we get together on these calls.
So for me, just a little bit of input for the lifestyle modifications. I know that they are super important, but many times I've seen when women are out looking for help, they've already done all that stuff. So it is more on tweaking the hormone supplements if needed. And not like shaming them like they're not doing the lifestyle medicine or lifestyle choices.
I think the nervous system work is big too. It played a big role in my healing journey, and I don't think I gave it enough credit in the very beginning. It was kind of like, yeah, I'll deal with that later. And, and kind of had to do all the other things before I would address that. So I've tried to incorporate it earlier in working with my patients, even if it's just, learning how to breathe or doing some vagal nerve exercises to just start planting that seed earlier, because I should have done it myself.
I'm glad you brought up the nervous system work. For anybody who didn't get to read last month's book, it was The Biology of Trauma by Dr. Amy Apigian, and it was all about nervous system work, and it was really good. So if you didn't have a chance to read it, I think it's worth going back and reading that one because it had a lot of great actionable steps for listening to your body and different exercises and they're not all breathing exercises. There's lots of different ways to tap into your nervous system. Breathing is just such a great and easy, accessible one that's free. Doesn't require any supplies either. I love it.
I'm curious if anybody's used any like motivational interviewing techniques to help people with their lifestyle changes.
Yeah, I think I weave it into all of my counseling and patient education sessions. I don't know that I have any specific questions. I think it's just an integral part of the way I talk to patients and figuring out what's most important to them. And maybe that comes a lot from my geriatric training. I'm a board certified geriatric pharmacist, and focusing on what's most important to the patient is really at the forefront with all of the care. And I think motivational interviewing is an important piece of uncovering what is most important to the patient, because that's how you're going to motivate them to do whatever it is if they don't see the connection of what you're doing to what matters to them, then it's not important to them. And it makes the care personal when we figure out what matters most to you, and then what are the steps we need to take to get there because this is so important to you. Bruce Berger is an author of a lot of articles on motivational interviewing, and he's kind of the name in that space. I should look to see if he's got a book that we can add to book club for next year for motivational interviewing. Do you have any motivational interviewing resources you want to share?
I just read like the textbook on it. But I just thought it was interesting because like when I went to pharmacy school, it was very, you educate the patient and it's more like one-sided. So just like relearning, you know, what current stuff is and what we've learned in the meantime. And trying to incorporate that a more curious mind and helping them to what they want, not necessarily what I think they should have.
It's a great point.
Yeah, I've done the Bruce Berger items before through our pharmacy association and really found that it helpful. But I also have found so Marlena Marinucci. I'll have to find it. She's done some work in our SAFM program, and I found it, you know, helpful and along the same lines, but a different approach, you know, not specifically from pharmacy, just like from a health coaching perspective. So I thought it was it's Marlena Marinucci, I think is the name.
Thank you. I will definitely look into those names.
We have just a few minutes left. Anyone else want to chime in? Becky, thank you for joining us. We're glad to have you, and we hope to see you next month. It looks like we have some people dropping off, so I think this seems like a good time to wrap up the call. Thank you all for joining me today. It was wonderful to see those of you who were able to be on camera and to hear from everyone else, whether that was unmuting or in the chat. And we look forward to seeing you next month to talk about the book, Listening to Your Body by Dr. Larissa Sharapova, and she will be here to answer your questions. So please read the book, join us, and we get to hear from the author herself. That will be really exciting. All right. Well, all of you, thank you again, and have a wonderful rest of your week.